Hello and welcome to Bowtied Media. My name is Dakota and I want to take you on a journey, essentially a journey through my life told through 10 EDM songs. Each of these tracks have been influential in my life for one reason or another, and I'm excited to share with you all. So without any further ado, here are the 10 most influential EDM songs in my life. There are a few select artists in the realm of electronic music that have had an influential reach that stretches deep into not only the music industry, but modern culture as a whole. And one of those artists are the immaculate robotic duo of Daft Punk. I'm convinced that if everyone in the world made their own list of influential EDM songs, Daft Punk would be the highest common denominator. So while it's sad that they recently announced their retirement, they offered us almost 30 years of digital bliss. It feels only right that Daft Punk were the first EDM artists I can consciously remember listening to. I would like to credit my mom with the introduction to this song, and I guess by proxy my introduction to electronic music in general. I do find it quite ironic though that my introduction to Daft Punk was with their weakest album, and specifically a song that was a blatant copy of one of their greatest hits.
Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip, unzip it.
I would say that I don't have the greatest memory of my childhood, but there are a few specific moments that I can remember very clearly. I was sitting in the back of my parents' car, probably about 12 years old, when my mom plays Technologic. I felt like I was immediately hooked. I loved the minimalistic intro with seemingly gibberish lyrics that would transform into an instant earworm. It seemed likely that my love for processed and robotic-sounding vocals spawned from both this track and Daft Punk as a whole. It wouldn't be for another 3 years, though, until I did a real deep dive into Daft Punk's discography, going back to the early days of homework and watching Interstellar 5555 about 100 times during a summer. So thanks for playing the song, Mom. Little did you know how much it would shape who I am today. While Technologic may not have had an immediate impact on what I listened to, there was one track in particular that made me explore what EDM was really all about. From what I can remember, an elementary school friend of mine played this track for me first, and it wasn't like anything I had really heard before. The song didn't start with any vocal verses or guitar intro. It was a simple beat. Boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap. The song started by essentially setting up the rest of the track. It was a formula I hadn't heard before, starting and then in the back half ending with just the basic beat of the song. How strange. And this is the moment I learned what DJing was. deadmau5 had the most electronic sound of anything else at the time. It sounded like a man with a massive helmet was smacking a computer around and somehow producing something musical. I had no idea what really went into music production at the time, and honestly, I don't know much more today. This song in particular also kickstarted my love for video production, as well as my affinity for music videos in particular. I was given a school project to make a music video of my choice and ended up working with the very friend that showed me this song to create a grade 7 masterpiece. So while deadmau5 was hitting musical primetime with his release of 2009's For Lack of a Better Name, I was on my own journey exploring what this EDM thing was all about. And while there is no Skrillex on the list, the next jump for me after deadmau5 was exploring the wild world of this brand new genre called dubstep. And there was this up-and-coming label from my own nation of Canada that was starting to make waves. Now, it wouldn't take you very long to find out that I love Monster Cat. I have spent hundreds of dollars on merch, gone to a lot of their shows, listened to all their music, and well, a lot of my videos are about Monster Cat. So it's really no surprise that a Monster Cat song would be on this list. And actually, spoiler alert, quite a few Monster Cat songs made this list. But let's start with where it all began. Imagine a young Dakota sitting at home watching an abundance of Minecraft videos on YouTube, only to get to the end of a Captain Sparkles video, and all you hear is...
Very much appreciated. Other than that, I will see you all next time.
can't tell you how many Captain Sparkle's outros I watched through until I went to the source of the song, but I can tell you the exact day I did. February 26, 2014. Coincidentally, the day that Monster Cat 16 Expedition released. I instantly bought the compilation from iTunes and was pretty much the only thing I listened to for about a month straight. And, well, that started my obsession with Monster Cat. But while that obsession took over most of the space on my iPod at the time, there was something else, someone else, ready to kick the door down. I had the privilege to grow up and explore new music with my best friend. Enter Brady. The two of us were practically inseparable through our high school years, and with that comes very similar listening habits. Pretty much every single song one of us listened to, the other did as well. So I had the pleasure of getting into EDM alongside Brady and discovering what felt like a brand new artist almost every day. But there was one artist in particular that we both instantly fell for. So much so that we skipped out on our senior year hiking trip to drive 4 hours to Vancouver to see our very first EDM show. An experience that opened our eyes to something magical. Just before we go any further, I want to drop this little flex on screen for you. Appreciate it in all its glory. Yeah, that's probably enough time. While Brady and I were exploring what EDM was, we knew of the quote-unquote main genres like dubstep, trap, and future bass, and we loved it because it wasn't like anything else we heard on the radio. But this was different. The music was still very much electronic, but it had a pop infusion that kept the tracks catchy while still having an explosive sound, all wrapped in a production that could have been heard on the radio. It was an easy in for us to show our friends and family our newfound love of EDM and have something that they could actually appreciate. Because, well, half of my family doesn't really like EDM.
No! I'm in ET right now, like this is too much.
It's like Mario Kart had a baby with Satan. It's
Wow! So this song has made this list for introducing me to both the wonderful world of electropop, or more commercial EDM, as well as being the song that most reminds me of my friendship with Brady that is still going strong to this day. Up until this point in my exploration of the wonderful world of EDM, it all kind of made me feel the same way. It was happy, upbeat, punchy, makes you want to get up and dance. I hadn't really stopped to think that maybe there was another side of EDM that was more emotional or sentimental. Besides, how could the intensity of Skrillex be under the same umbrella genre of EDM as something slow and heart-tugging? It just didn't make sense. Until one fateful day in December 2014, two artists I would go on to love collaborated on a certain track. But it wasn't the original track that got to me, it was the extended mix. I remember looking up the lyrics for the song and being taken quite aback. The song is quite literally expressing suicidal thoughts and the feelings of being erased from society in an absolutely harrowing 2-minute intro sequence. I'm a fairly stoic person that honestly doesn't feel a ton of emotions, and I would be lying if I said that this song had me burst into tears or save my life, but it definitely made me feel something I hadn't felt from music before. I would be driving back roads late at night or longboarding down an alley just before dusk and throw on the song and just soak in the grandeur of its production. I have a very particular style of track that I would come to have a real affinity for nowadays and would categorize it as an epic. Something that starts really slow and soft and builds into a grand, thrilling climactic finale. I would argue that this song was one of the very first epic styles that I discovered. I can also thank this track for introducing me to two of my favorite artists of all time in both Puppet and Eden. So thank you, Scribble. I will not be forgetting you anytime soon. Songs have a unique ability to transport you to a very specific time and place in your personal history with just a single note. Whether it's a first kiss, breakup, wedding, funeral, random Tuesday in the middle of chemistry class, you have no idea why you remember the moment, but you do. You just remember the song. We all have those moments. I spent almost a decade serving at one of my local summer camps every summer, and in 2016, I was fortunate enough to take on the responsibility of media coordinator. I made daily recap videos, ran our chapel and fireside sessions, picked and played all the music for our events, pretty much looking over anything that had sound or power. So before the summer of 2016 began, I was tasked with making a playlist for all of our wide games and videos, and I had to be very particular about the style of song and content of the lyrics, so that it was appropriate for everyone. And while I found a lot of great songs to fill those playlists, there was one song in particular that would go on to be the song for the camp for the next half decade and counting. The song was electric. The energy, fun, carefree nature, and easily recognizable beat turned the song into quite literally the song that defined the camp for years to come. There was just something special about the bustling room all ready to explode and then have a couple notes repeated a few times turn a room into an instant dance party. I seriously cannot speak to how impactful the song has been to the camp and the joy that it has brought to thousands of people across half a decade, all in a small little camp on the lake. But let's go back to those daily recap videos I made, because every one of those videos has a different song, and some are definitely more memorable than others. Video production has been a major part of my life. I did it for multiple summers at camp. I currently work as the head of the video department at my local church. And well, I do this channel as a hobby. So my life basically revolves around video. And pretty much every single video I've ever made has had music in it. Some more subtle than others. And wouldn't you know it, I was there in no time. And some are the center of the video. But there's one song in particular that manages to represent both one of my favorite videos I've ever made and a video I've promised myself to make in the future. So let's talk about why I love this one video in particular. In the span of 3 years at camp, I managed to make over 150 videos. That is insane. Most of them were 3-ish minute recap videos that most commonly used light and happy electropop. Stuff that everyone would enjoy and be easy to listen to. But for one bigger video to recap the week of camp, I got a little more ambitious with my song choice, and boy, did it pay off big time. The impact of this moment varies from person to person depending on one's belief or relationships to the individual, but I literally get chills every time I watch it. I took a risk on a song selection that paid off big time. The other half belongs to a promise I made to myself when I was younger and getting into filmmaking. I've had this certain storyline in my head for either a music video or a short film, but I felt like I really wanted to do it right the first time, because I've made some crappy little films with my friends for various things, but I wanted this to look really good. So even though I work today as a videographer, I don't think I'm at a point yet where my expertise is enough that I can execute it to the best of my abilities. So how does this relate to Law of the Jungle? Well, I've decided some time ago that I wanted to do a 5-part short film to the Closer EP, in which this track is the 4th of 5 songs. It's essentially 5 separate music videos that, when played back to back, act as a short film. It's an ambitious project, but I'll get there someday. It's the summer of 2017 now, and I'm 19 years old and had just finished my first year of university. I'm sure you can guess at this point where I spent my summer. Yep, camp again. We had just finished a couple weeks of staff training and the summer was about to officially begin. We had about 2.5 weeks of kids camps to kick off the summer, so we had brought in this speaker from Ontario to talk during our chapels and firesides. It's the day before kickoff and I'm introduced to the speaker for the weeks. She introduces herself as Caitlin and we end up spending a lot of time together setting up for those chapels and firesides and playing games with the kids. Well, let's just fast forward a couple years and see how that turned out. Okay, so that's how my wife and I met. But what does that have to do with the song? Well, a lot actually. I first heard the song the day she ended up leaving camp for the summer, so I closely associated it with her and, well, missing her. And the lyrics, well, they couldn't have been any more perfect to make you really feel the feels. All it does is repeat 2 lines over and over and over again. No matter what you say or what you do, when I'm alone, I'd rather be with you. All summer, I felt those words hard. But that's not just it. For our very first Christmas together, I ended up making her a mixtape. Cute, right? Full of 20 songs that reminded me of her. And this song was the song from that mixtape. So much so that when we were planning our wedding, we even joked about having her come down the aisle right as the song reached its climactic drop. You know how certain songs just remind you of certain people or places? Well, there is no other song out there that has more connectivity to a person or place than this track does. Hello YouTube, I am Bowtied Media, and today we are going to be looking at a remix review. May 20th, 2020. The first wave of the COVID pandemic was sweeping through the globe, and in my bedroom of my parents' house, I decided to launch Bowtied Media. I decided it was going to be a passion project, something to work on as the world was literally shut down. I didn't need to go outside to really do anything other than listen to music and record myself talking about said music. It was awesome. I'm still very much finding my way with this channel and what I want it to become. I thought I wanted to be Anthony Fantano for a while, and then like Todd in the Shadows, and then like Hive Mind. I guess only time will tell where this channel really ends up. But there was one project in particular that Bowtied Media was becoming increasingly known for in the community. Hello YouTube, this is Bowtied Media, and today I have a very, very special reaction video. I am just grinning with joy over this. So, Tristram, he is finally here. Tristram's With Love Until We Die album ended up being a very defining project for this channel. As I followed along with the release of the LP, I actually had a group of people following me follow Tristram. It was a truly unique experience, and I'm very grateful for everyone that started watching because of those videos. But even though violence kickstarted it all, I think there is a better song to represent this channel. It was the title track, my favorite song of the album, my favorite song of that year, and I think represented the album most holistically. This channel would not be the same without this album, without this song, and I wouldn't have it any other way. At this point in the video, we've talked about these songs in chronological order. We started back in roughly 2009 and are essentially in present day now. So what could this last song represent? Well, the future. A sad, inevitable future. We all die. It's a fact of life that you can't escape from. All you can do is try to live every day to the fullest and live a life worth living. But when that day eventually creeps up on me and there's a celebration of life, I want one song in particular to be played.
Thank you. I'll say goodbye soon. Though it's the end of the world, don't blame yourself now. And if
Porter Robinson is practically unparalleled in the world of EDM when it comes to creating tracks with such an emotional depth on all ends of the spectrum. But Goodbye to a World is in a league of its own, and he managed to make it hit even harder with his 2021 Secret Sky set, where he fuses it together with Blossom to create a harrowingly sad moment. The notion of future loss through the lyrics of Blossom paired with the melancholy chords of Goodbye to a World make for one of the saddest moments in EDM performance history.
And if it's true, I will thank you and give life to a world that's our own.
Yeah, we're ending this video on a major down note, but I feel like it's only fitting to wrap all this storytelling up. So thank you for going on this journey with me and listening to the stories of my life told through EDM songs. And thank you for the support on this channel. I planned this video for when I would hit 2,000 subs, and that's finally reality. So actually, I'll let Porter say it.